Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have this abandoned mine video. This tape comes from 1998 when some teenagers went snooping through an abandoned mine.
Got some pipes. Oh, wow. We have to climb that.
Yeah, don't everybody get up.
I got
You're gonna be the lucky one to fall.
This is going to America's Funniest when somebody falls. That's a good idea.
They're searching around and eventually come to an area where they need to use a rope to drop down to the level below. The boys believe that their plan is foolproof and that they'll all climb down the rope, and then when it's time to leave, they'll all just climb back up the rope. The first friend, named Adam, goes to climb down the rope when they all suddenly come to realize that perhaps this was a terrible idea. They obviously didn't secure the rope enough, and Adam ended up falling 65 feet down.
Oh. Adam! Oh, Adam!
He was knocked unconscious and obviously injured, but luckily his friends were able to call for help. Adam had to wait several hours in the dark before being rescued, but it certainly could have been much worse.
Coming in at number 9, we have the tombs. Here's the thing, if someone invites you to go into a tomb, just say no. Say, this is not for me. I'm not a tomb kind of guy. I would prefer to hang out on the surface and look at birds, because this next video is exactly what can happen when you agree to go walking in some tombs.
But he soon begins to panic. He runs through the maze of tunnels and his breathing gets heavy. As he is running, you can hear and tell the man is freaking out. He then drops the camera in the water and is seen running away out of frame.
So that is some footage that was found in the Paris catacombs. If you don't know what that is, it's a series of long maze-like tunnels that are underneath Paris. They are filled with the remains of thousands of people, and there are areas in these tunnels that have never been explored. There have been reports of some people living down there, and even massive secret raves that take place down there. Some suspect that there could be some sort of creature that lives in there and feasts upon the people who get lost. In the video, it seems that the person recording got lost and starts to panic. It also seems like they're running from something. There is no idea who filmed this and whether or not it's staged. To this day, this video freaks me out every time I see it.
In our number 8 spot today, we have this arsonist video. This video is definitely dark and just very disturbing. It's a video of an arsonist who has just lit a huge fire. He stands a decent distance away, filming the fire and commenting on his work, and man, did it ever give me the chills. It's obviously someone who is very proud of the destruction that they are causing. You can hear the fire truck sirens in the background as they're on their way to the scene, which honestly just adds another layer of creepiness in my opinion. The fact that he is willing to stick around and film this definitely increases his chances of getting caught, but I also feel like it shows just how badly he wants recognition for his insane crimes. Watching this video honestly made me feel like I was on Criminal Minds and that I needed to profile who this insane man is.
Coming in number 7, we have Creeper in the Bank. With so much of the world working from home and needing to do Zoom calls all the time, this next clip is going to have you looking over your shoulder every time you're in a Zoom meeting. That's not what you want creeping around in your house when you're not looking. And the sad part is that this guy looks like he was actually enjoying himself very much on that computer call. Little did he know he was about to get devoured by some alien intruder that wants to wear his skull as a hat. Now, I don't know what the aftermath of this video was, so if anyone knows if this guy is still alive and kicking or if he got turned into a lampshade, please let me know in the comments below.
In our number 6 spot today, we have a plane crash video. This video comes from August of 1984, and it starts off fairly normal and is just showing the view as a pilot named James Jeb Cadell flies a plane through the air over some rolling hills that look pretty green and filled with trees. There isn't really any audio other than the loud sound of the plane's engine, but at a few points the pilot begins speaking to someone else. The person he is speaking to is the only passenger on the plane, and his name is Ronald Hugh Wilmond.
Oh, look at that down there, Ronnie, on the left. Nice little lake and a cabin.
They continue flying around, not a ton of talking, but just a few little tidbits here and there. As it turns out, the density altitude conditions of the day weren't really taken into account and caused things to take a turn for the worst. James tries his best to get away from the rising terrain and stalls the airplane 3 times in his attempts before it ultimately crashes. film. This tape was found hanging in the trees by backpackers who stumbled upon the crash site 3 years after it had occurred. It is super scary to watch, and it really shows how things can change in an instant.
Coming in at number 5, we have missing Australian teens. This was a huge story in Australia just a few years ago. There were 4 teenagers who went out together one night and they never came back. There was a massive search to try and find them, but there was no luck. Eventually, everyone lost hope and there was little clues as to what could have happened to these kids. The only piece of evidence that ever popped up was a tape that was found months after the boys went missing. It was taken by the 4 boys and it was an 8-minute video of them driving around until they pulled off on a dirt road to go explore an abandoned hospital. Here's some of that footage.
I have a lost, huh? How dark is this place?
It's suspected that these teens could have gotten lost in the woods and maybe died from exposure, but they did cross into some land that said private property, no trespassing, so it's possible that they were confronted by someone who might have killed them. To this day, it is still a mystery.
In our number 4 spot today, we have a creepy stalker video. This whole video is about a minute long and is one of the scariest videos I've ever seen in my life. While the video itself doesn't show anything super crazy, it's the story behind it that is cruel and gruesome. This video was taken by a stalker before he ended up taking the life of his victim. Her name was Lauren Giddings and she was a 27-year-old law student. She unfortunately ended up crossing paths with this absolute psycho who officials believe was on his way to becoming a serial killer. He took this video before entering her apartment and it is him creeping and peering into her windows. Like I mentioned before, the video doesn't show much other than the fact that this guy was obviously very disturbed.
Coming in number 3, we have the Paraguay home video. Well, this video is bizarre on several levels, and it's not just the video itself, it's all the stories that go along with this video. First, let's take a look at what the video is. Now this was filmed in the 90s and then popped up again on the internet, and the whole thing is like this. It's a bunch of strange edits and grainy distorted footage. It jumps around from place to place, and that's not even the weirdest part. The strange part is the audio that you can hear in the back of the video. It sounds demonic, like there's some sort of creature trying to communicate through the video. But that's where the creepy stories start. There's a list of people who have said they've heard hidden messages through this video. Some people say they see a demonic figure pop up only to have it disappear when they rewind, and there are even stories that people are brainwashed by this tape to do evil things. There isn't any hard evidence to prove any of this stuff, so right now it just stands as an internet urban legend.
In our number 2 spot today, we have this grave robber video. This video is taken from a VHS tape and is basically just an almost 30-minute long video of some guy explaining how to rob a grave. This is obviously an incredibly messed up thing to be doing, let alone teaching other people how to do it, but what adds an extra layer of creepiness is the fact that he is absolutely manhandling what seems to be a very real human skull throughout the video. He also shows other bones during his explanations.
They look great, and if you also get the leg bones, it'll look even better like this. With both of them on it, like that. They look beautiful.
I really wish I never had to sit through an entire explanation of all of the gritty details on how to rob a grave. It is a little too in-depth for me, and the fact that this guy has dirt all over his face really drives this one home for me, as if he had just finished doing exactly what he is describing. He also explains how to ensure that you don't get caught, since this is of course very illegal.
Let's say you robbed around 5 graves, right? Alright, for the first one you might be able so you might get caught, alright? But if there's witnesses for the rest of them, you will get caught too. Why? Because they're gonna blame you for it, right? Because they caught you for this one, that means you most likely did the rest of them, and the judge will say it was you.
All in all, I think I'm gonna stay far, far away from this guy and his creepy collection.
Coming in at the number 1 spot, we have the Grizzly Man tapes. I want to start off this one by saying we will not play the tape for this one. It's much too gruesome. If you want, you can go look it up yourself, but I will tell you that it can be very scarring. These tapes were the last thing left behind by Timothy Treadwell and his girlfriend. Timothy Treadwell was known as the Grizzly Man. He spent 13 years in and out of living with bears, which for most would sound like the most terrifying thing you could imagine. But for him, he wanted to show the world that you could live with bears and they were not an animal to be feared. Well, even though he was able to spend over a decade in their presence, that would eventually lead to his death. Timothy was making a documentary about bears, so during that time, he was filming. One day while he was with a grizzly and his girlfriend, the bear turned on him and killed him and his girlfriend. You can't see what's happening, but you can hear the audio. Number 10. Croatian missing teens. Sometimes when you're just trying to make some bad parkour videos with your buddies and then some sackhead man starts following you around and ruins all the fun. This footage was found in Croatia and it follows two teens that were messing around with a new handy cam when they noticed a strange figure following them. They approached the man and he seemed drunk, so they kind of messed around with him. You can't see his face because he's got a scarecrow-like sack on his head. I think if you see some dude with a creepy canvas bag on his head, then you should just go to bed. Your day has been ruined, nothing can fix it, unless you know a guy who owns like 11 golden retriever puppies. That's the only way you're gonna forget that. Well, this creepy fellow starts chasing these teens and word on the street is that the teens went missing and the footage was discovered by the police. Oh, creepy. Number 9. Australian missing teens. We got even more missing teens. Man, I'm glad when I was a teen, I spent my time sitting in the same spot on the couch watching Simpson reruns and not looking for adventure. I was fat back then, so I would have been the first one to go if anything went down. Well, this footage was a pretty big deal as it was shown on the Australian news. It follows 4 teens filming themselves at night. They go on a little journey around the Australian countryside. They eventually come to a fence where one of them says they can hear a noise on the other side of the fence. As they approach the fence, they see a sign that says private property, but nothing's gonna stop this bunch of curious adolescents, so they decide to disregard the sign, hop over the fence, and proceed to check things out. Not too long after that, the video cuts out. The 4 of them were never seen again, and the missing persons case is open to this day. Whoa. Number 8. Penthurst footage. When I see an old rundown mental institution, the first thing I think is, man, I should get some pals and we should go exploring. I wonder how many magical wonders are inside. I bet there's pentagrams, ghosts, black mold just waiting to take hold of my lungs. Well, these kids wanted to do just that for whatever reason. They went into the Penthurst Mental Institution in Pennsylvania. This place has a horrible past. It used to be a mental institution for children, and there are endless reports about abuse that would happen to the kids that were staying at this place. The people who worked there would abuse these kids on a regular basis, and the living conditions were almost impossible to endure, completely unimaginable. The place is now abandoned, but it's still a cornerstone for supernatural activity. The camera with the footage on it of the kids was found outside the institution, and so far it hasn't been linked to any person, so it's unknown if the kids went missing or if they just dropped their camera. Number 7. Leonard Lake. This one is very disturbing. In 1981, Leonard Lake met Charles Ng, and the two would go down in history for committing some horrible crimes. The two would kidnap people and take them to a cabin in the Sierra Nevada region in California. Lake had built a dungeon next to the cabin where he would keep his prisoners. They would keep people there as slaves for a time before they would kill them. It's suspected that the two killed somewhere between 11 to 25 people. Many of their interactions with these people were documented in journals and on videotape. When the two were arrested, the tapes were used to convict Charles. However, Leonard Lake did not see justice. This one is pretty dark, and I would only look into it if you're one of those people who only listens to murder podcasts. Number 6. Bjork stalker tapes. Man, being famous must be hard. You don't get any privacy. You're constantly being critiqued by people who haven't accomplished anything close to what you have, and sometimes stalkers you've never met will think you're soulmates and try to kill you. These tapes follow Ricardo Lopez. He was an exterminator who was living in the States and obsessed with the artist Bjork. When he found out that she had entered into a new relationship, he went off the rails. He started making video diaries of himself all about his plan to kill Bjork. He then made a sulfuric acid bomb and mailed it to Bjork. After he did this, he went home and filmed his own suicide. His logic was that the bomb would kill Bjork, he would kill himself, and the two would meet up in heaven. Thank God mail is slow, because after a few days his body started to rot and someone complained about the smell. Police came in, found the tapes, and were able to intercept the bomb.
Acceptable. I wanna be the biggest influence on her life, the man, person who, the most influential, the the most important person who changed her life more than anybody else, okay? The guy who took her life, okay?
Number 5, Yemen couple. You can't even enjoy a nice lakeside honeymoon with your wife without something going horribly wrong. I think for my honeymoon, I just want to go somewhere in the sun where I can get drunk and basically forget the whole thing and have everyone tell me that I had a good time, but I can't remember because I was too drunk the whole time. This couple probably wanted that. They set up a camera at the edge of a lake and the two jumped in. It seemed like a nice time, but out of nowhere, they both get sucked under. You see some splashing and a hand pop out of the water. The camera was found by someone walking by and the footage was uploaded to YouTube and went viral. Holy crap, that would suck. Going viral after you die? You don't even get your 15 minutes of fame. It's unknown what happened to the couple or where their bodies are. I'm gonna say it was a lake monster. That's all I got. Number 4, the Paris catacombs. I bet you guys think Paris is super romantic with all the cheese and wine and accordions. Well, did you know that underneath Paris is a series of catacombs that are filled with dead bodies? There was a time in Paris where the graveyards were so overrun with dead bodies, so they started stuffing them down there. And we got some footage from down there. It's thought that this footage is from somewhere in the 90s, and it has a guy just exploring the place on his own. Super smart idea. Just wander around a maze full of dead bodies, no backup. In the footage, he comes across some paintings and then sees something that frightens him so bad he drops his camera and starts running. It's unknown what he saw, but the creepiest thing I've heard is that he came across the gates of hell. What's the matter with this guy? Why would he go looking through catacombs when there's literally an endless supply of croissants right above him? Also, it's unknown what happened to this man. He might have got eaten by a monster, or maybe he's eating croissants. Number 3, Lost at Sea. This one has so many angles to it. So I'll start with what the footage looks to be. It shows 4 men in the water holding onto some debris while a tuna fishing boat fires shots at them. This was filmed right off the coast of Fiji. The footage was investigated by the Fijian police after it went viral on YouTube. Some people say that the people floating in the water were Fijian and being attacked by this tuna boat for whatever reason. The police said that the people in the water were Somali pirates. They tried to hijack the tuna boat and then failed. I think I have no idea what's going on because the footage is grainy as hell. It looks like it was filmed on a 1998 Samsung tape recorder by me when I was 4 years old and touching the lens with my Pop-Tart covered fingers. If you have more info on this, write in the comments below because that's all I got. This one is all over the place. Number 2, missing diver. Hey guys, take it from me. I used to teach scuba diving. If you ever want to go super deep and check out some really crazy stuff, just don't. It's really dark down there, you can't see, and the whole point of going scuba diving is to look at cool fish and then have a beer afterwards. If there's no beer afterwards, the dive is basically pointless. Well, this diver died trying to go too deep in the blue hole in the Red Sea. He got to around 300 feet underwater when he started to get a heavy nitrogen narcosis. This is where the air you're breathing literally makes you high. The air is so compressed from the surrounding water pressure that your lungs fill up with more nitrogen molecules on every breath, so it makes you feel like you're wasted. Imagine being wasted 300 feet underwater. Well, this guy gave it a shot and he didn't make it back. Number 1, Boy Scouts. If there's anything you should learn from this one is don't put your kids in the Boy Scouts. Just let them stay home and play Fortnite. You can trust Fortnite. These tapes were found in the home of Anatov Slivka. He was the leader of a group of Boy Scouts in Soviet Russia, and he was actively killing people between the years of 1964 and 1985. He would convince one of the smaller boys in the group to come back to his home, where he would perform a spine-stretching experiment on them. All of these gruesome acts were taped, and when he was arrested by police, the footage was used against him to put him to death. Number 10, home video mashup. So we're kicking off this video with a tape that was found in the streets of Peru. I bet you guys are thinking it's gonna be some crazy drug cartel footage with a massive gun battle, wads of cash flying all over the place, and piles of pure cocaine. Well, it's a video of some kids playing. Sorry if I got your hopes up. When it comes to the actual footage of this video, nothing is particularly scary. It's just a bunch of separate clips edited together that follows a family or some friends playing around. But it's the audio that is creepy. EVP. At certain times the video sounds like some sort of demon trying to communicate with the viewer. Some people have speculated that one of the people in the video has a demon living inside them, and that's why the audio is so unsettling. Demons are just freeloaders, man, just moving into someone's body without asking. They never pay rent. I hate them. Number 9, plane crash footage. I don't know if I would want my last moments caught on camera. Like, I'm not sure what kind of person I would be. I might be brave, or I might just be the biggest weenie that there has ever been. And then that footage would get leaked onto the internet, and I wouldn't be remembered as Che Dorena, great host of Most Amazing Top 10. I would be remembered as that meme of that guy who screams like a girl. Well, in this footage, these guys are much braver than I would probably ever be. It's a dash cam footage of 2 guys in a single engine plane. You can't see them because the camera's looking out the front window, but you can hear the pilot say "hold on" right before they crash. Both men were killed on impact. The wreckage was discovered by 2 hikers and the tape was almost destroyed, but local authorities reconstructed it, and that's why we have it for you here today. Number 8, Satan's Bridge. If somewhere is called Satan's Bridge, I probably would stay really far away from it. That's why I like this kind of footage. Someone else goes to visit Satan's Bridge, while I stay at home in my underwear watching it on YouTube, not getting eaten by cannibals. Well, there's no cannibals in this video, but you get what I mean. This footage was found by a YouTuber, and it's someone filming a bunch of weird stuff on the state bridge which connects Virginia to North Carolina. Apparently this place is a hotspot for people who like to practice witchcraft. As you can see in the video, there's all sorts of weird symbols and markings. There's even some areas that look like they have giant blood stains on them. Maybe it's just someone who fell off their bike and was like bleeding a little bit, or maybe it was a group of psychos who sacrificed a virgin to the Dark Lord. Who knows? It's really a coin flip. Number 7, Stephen McDaniels. Sometimes you think someone's being a really good friend when secretly they're really filming you from the apartment next door. You can't really trust anyone anymore. Well, you can trust me to make videos about videos that will make you want to lock your door at night, but that's about it. Well, this one is extra creepy. Stephen McDaniels and Lauren Gidding went to the same university and were neighbors. They were apparently good friends. Little did Lauren know that Stephen was filming her through her window. Stephen was obsessed with Lauren, and the day before they graduated, he decided to put on a mask and break into her apartment. She was in bed, he jumped into the bed and then grabbed her by her throat and tried to hold her down. In the struggle, she pulled off his mask and started yelling, "Stephen, please stop." He held her by her throat for 15 minutes until she died. Eventually, the police started investigating why she was missing, and when the police came to arrest Stephen, they found tons of footage on his computer of him creeping on her through her window. Oof. Number 6, log cabin. If I ever find an old VHS outside of an abandoned log cabin, I'm going to resist the urge to watch it so I don't end up like The Ring. Someone found this tape in that exact scenario I just described, and it seems to be some guy creeping around looking through windows on some old abandoned cabin, and then a window slams shut and you can hear what sounds like a ghost yelling. I will never understand what compels people to go check out old creepy buildings instead of sitting at home with ice cream and watching trashy TV. Number 5, Soul Ferry sinking. Okay, this one is actually so crazy because this tragedy could have been avoided. On April 16th, 2014, a ferry in Seoul, Korea capsized. When this happened, the captain told everyone to stay in the boat and put on a life vest. The boat then filled with water and the people inside were trapped because of their life vests and drowned. Most of the people who were saved from the sinking ship didn't listen to the instructions and jumped overboard. Even the captain who told everyone to stay on the boat jumped overboard. He didn't even listen to his own instructions. Good news is that the captain was later arrested and given a life sentence for leaving the boat and getting so many people killed. Number 4, yard sale video. This one seems like a little bit of a stretch. It was apparently found at a yard sale by a YouTuber, Jack Torrance. Now you can never really trust these YouTubers. All they want is your views and they're willing to do anything to get it, like make up fake found footage or write top 10 list after top 10 list just begging for your approval, hoping that you go into the comments on the video and write how nice their hair is. Like, it's just terrible. But this YouTuber said he found this footage at a yard sale. The footage shows a man hiking through the woods and it's all pretty normal until it starts to get late. Eventually night comes and the man holding the camera seems to be panicked. He starts moving the camera erratically, almost like something is after him or he's lost. He then comes across a weird green blanket or canvas bag with a yellow rope tied to it. The bag then gets pulled into the darkness of the woods, but you cannot see who pulled it. Then the video just ends. This is a good time for a PSA about how you should never walk in the woods at night, because people are out there who just love killing. Number 3, mysterious grave robber. See, now with the internet, you can track down the source of something much easier, but this video was passed around from person to person via VHS in the 90s, so no one really knows where it came from. It has famously been titled Grave Robbing for Morons, and it's a mystery to this day as to who is in the video and whether or not it is fake. It shows a teenager giving the best tips and tricks on how to be a grave robber. He even breaks down which parts of the body are the most valuable. I'm so curious as to where the kid in the video is now. Did he follow his heart and continue his passion for grave robbing? Or is he stuck at a desk working some boring office job? Also, I want to know how much moolah is in this grave robbing business. Maybe I should stop making top 10 videos and start shoveling up some bones for hot cash. Number 2, Pyro's burned down home. We all love playing with matches, right? There's something satisfying about watching things burn. That's normal, right? I mean, my therapist said I'm a danger to my friends and family, but he also said that I don't have great hair, so what on earth does he know? All jokes aside, the 2 teens in the video took this whole playing with matches thing way too far. In 1987, 2 pyros filmed themselves burning down a family's home while they were away on vacation. In the footage, you can hear them laughing as the flames grow higher and higher. Farmer found the tape and turned it into the police. It took about 2 years, but the teens were later caught and arrested. After the arrests were made, they were linked to over 24 other fires. I guess you can call the video that the farmer turned in a hot tip. Yeah? Hot tip? Okay. And number 1 on our list is Casey Stuttered. Just a heads up, number 1 on our list is very disturbing. In 2006, Brian Draper and Troy Adamkick documented themselves planning and carrying out the murder of Casey Stuttered. Casey was just in high school and was house sitting for a family member. Brian, Tori, and Casey's boyfriend came over one night to watch a movie. Brian and Tori waited for Casey's boyfriend to leave, and then they carried out their plan using a kitchen knife. The 2 were arrested 5 days later and both sentenced to life in prison. I don't recommend watching the video, but in it you can see how little they care for her life while planning everything, and also how they just picked her at random.